And let's go on now to Cecilia Mejia from USA, founder of the nonprofit organization serving high school students with the name Art of Me. Welcome, Cecilia.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Cecilia. I am Filipino American. My parents were born in the Philippines and migrated here to New York. I work with high school students all over New York City, mainly high school students in underserved and under-resourced communities. And what we do with them, not only with Art of Me, but also my production company, is we go into the schools and we work with students on what we call social impact storytelling. And we develop these stories along with them with the idea of them talking about things that matter to them in their world. And a lot of what comes up are things like mental health, women's rights, even the environment. And a lot more recently, they're talking a lot about healing and trauma and education, just given the recent events, and also racism and equity. So what we do is we help them develop these stories and we publish them in different formats, either through an online publication, and we also have a podcast where we have a young person host that podcast and talk to the other young writers, and they talk about their stories and the process of it. We also have a series of radio stories as well, and then a graphic novel. But we're also, the main thing that we do is we create these short films, high-level short films with filmmakers from NYU and other different universities around the country. And we create these films for the youth, by the youth, and the youth are very much a part of every part of that, from the conception to the casting to the production to the editing phase. They're part of all of that, and they utilize these stories now to talk about these very important issues that mean something to them. So if I can share my screen, I would love to run through what Art of Me is very briefly, and then show you guys a clip of our latest film called Blood Hana. So just bear with me. Okay. So Art of Me is a nonprofit organization that promotes social emotional well-being and healthy relationships for young people through innovative interdisciplinary curriculum, which we actually develop curriculum through these films, creative endeavors, and fostering leadership and advocacy skills. Our programs inspire participants to tackle difficult decisions, increase critical thinking skills, and become advocates for positive change within themselves and society. This is just our logo, our animated logo. So these are a couple of our films. The Unstoppable, which was our first series of films which tackled mental health, specifically in young women of color. The Effects, which talked about the immigration crisis here in America. Blood Hana, which is our recent film, which actually is a very artsy film that talks about love and faith and gender identity. So this is our podcast. It's available on Spotify and all these other places where podcasts are available. Our hosts are young people that we worked with, speaking to professionals as well. We're in season 3, and we're now working with different artists around the country as well. But it's really interesting to take a listen and hear all of the questions that are coming from young people. We also have our online publication, like I mentioned. We are on volume 12, and you'll see a wealth of stories from our young people here and emerging young writers. This is our radio station. We also have songs that some of our students have written in our graphic novel. So what we do is we work with this story structure plus impact. So our idea is to do humanistic storytelling with impact, which evokes empathy, which creates understanding and leads to action. So our guidelines when we work with our students is for youth, by youth. We have this idea that we don't amplify your voice. We pass the mic on to you because we as professionals have that mic. We came up with this guideline and this concept after working with young people for many, many years, because they came to us and said, we are speaking. It's just a matter of people listening and understanding what we're saying. So this is what we're doing now, taking a step back, giving them the mic, and understanding what they're saying and listening to their voice and giving them our platform to be able to speak up. We ask them to be honest, to be very honest with us about their story, because at the end of the day, it's their story. We will work as hard as they do. We always tell them that it's not about talent, it's about how much effort you put forth. So we always put that rule with them. And the idea is also when it's their turn to tell someone else's story, they pay it forward. So we've seen that happen over the years multiple times, and it's been really nice to see. So we go through this simple story structure, which is, you know, the basic teacher stuff that we do. We're also educators and filmmakers. So we go through exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, catastrophe, all that kind of stuff. But we also implement impact. And when we say impact, is that part where where I said where these young people now take the story and bring it into the world and talk about these issues. So what I wanted to do is show you a clip of Blood Hana, which is our latest film. It was written by a young Puerto Rican American, Lexington Rivera, and it's a very complex, beautiful love story. She actually wrote it for an Asian American in the lead, and I asked her why. She said, I wanted to write for a group of people that I never really see in the media, which is something very poignant that, you know, a young person, 16-year-old tells you this. So we have to follow her lead. It talks about love. It talks about faith in a very mature way. We also inserted animation into it. And the story is now circulating among high schools. We have lesson plans for it. Students are responding to it. So it's been quite a journey. So I'm going to show you guys a really short, a couple of minutes of the film. It's about 20 minutes, but I won't show you the whole thing in interest of time.
Hi, my name is Lexington Rivera, and my story is about a young girl named Lily falling in love and trying to find herself and navigate her way through the world. For more information, go to artofme.org.
A reading from Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves to
I
your
look around my
husbands
church and see marriage.
present her to himself as a radiant.
The couple in front of me have been married all my life.
In this same way,
I see the way she looks at him, like there's only him and God.
loves his wife, loves himself. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her.
Please, God, sign that I'm not alone, that something is coming.
Lily Sawa Garcia,
Here,
Renee Thomas,
Here.
Alex Villanueva. Is there an Alex here?
barely. What is her deal? I don't know, I think she's new. She doesn't go to our church. Doubt she goes to any. Damn right I don't.
All right, let's turn to page 23. For this assignment, I want you to try to really demonstrate complexities. All right, let's go, partner up.
I know we've never spoken, but I want to be your partner for this.
What makes you think I want to work with you?
Why do you do that?
You're just easy to mess with. All right, so what should our form be about? Lame.
Sadness?
No. How about God? I mean, we could talk about teenage angst, but why even when ice sheets are melting at an alarming rate and the only tangible solution?
When I asked for a sign, I didn't mean like this.
Besides, I happen to know you cry the church bed, which is pretty weird.
So I'm a Jesus freak, and you believe the world is gonna end?
Yeah, in our lifetime. Besides, it would be nice for me to dive into something new. You know, maybe you'll convert me.
Doubtful, but okay.
All right, let's do this.
So that's the first 3 minutes of the film. If you can get the gist of it, it's about this young woman who is questioning her faith in God, in a very mature way, and also questioning her own sexuality. But it's a very beautiful story. I would say a lot of the dialogue was written with the students, and so a lot of that is how they speak. And if you take a look, that's actually Lexington School. Lexington's in the film herself, and a lot of her classmates are in the background. And we actually used a real teacher for the teacher. So a lot of it we try to interject into knowing that when we work with the schools and work with the students, they really do recognize when something is for them, by them. And this idea of that kind of storytelling really does bring out the best in them that we've noticed. So yeah, that's basically the gist of Art of Me, and what we do and what I do. We've also are developing other kinds of programs that will work more a lot on documentary side, talking a little bit more about social justice, mainly environmentalism, which is a big thing that students are thinking about now. But yeah, I'm open to any questions or if people have any thoughts. I've worked with teenagers for nearly a decade, so I know exactly their temperament and how they work, especially during COVID. So
Hey, Cecilia, I think you're doing amazing work there. I wish Art of Me was also here in Greece, in Europe in general, and maybe we can talk about it and we can bring a version of it or modify it, adapt it for the European audience of Gen Zs.